On today's episode, let's talk about income and full-time travel, because this is where a lot of smart, responsible adults get stuck and then think they can't make full-time travel a reality before retirement. Welcome to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. I'm your host, Heather Markell. If you're dreaming of full-time travel or moving abroad, but stuck at the emotional, financial, and logistical challenges, this podcast is for you. I'll help you trade overwhelm for information that gets you from down and stuck to up and going. You can dream about the travel lifestyle, or you can live the travel lifestyle. If you're ready to live it, then let's jump in together. Most very smart people think, I can't travel full-time until I replace my salary. And so when you do that, your focus becomes, I need a remote job. I need a business. I need passive income. And listen, I am not anti-income. I love money. In fact, for most people, having income while traveling creates stability, confidence, and long-term sustainability. But the problem is that many people try to design income before they understand how much they actually need. And this can get you all tripped up. In fact, it was because I wanted to make exactly the same amount of money that I made in corporate or more, presuming that that's how much I needed to travel full-time, that I gave up on even starting to figure out how to travel full-time for years. So, before you figure out how money will come in, you need to understand this. What happens if no money comes in for a while? Deep breath. I know that sounds really scary, especially if you're not planning to retire. Having no income is not the goal. That is not what I'm saying. But if you can get comfortable with this scenario and how to manage it, then your foundation gets built. Now, I know I may sound, I know some of my episodes, I probably sound like Yoda or some futuristic voice, but from experience, this is how it works. And I get when you're sitting, at your screen, trying to plot this out, right? This may sound like a lot to ask of you, but the thing is, when you know your real monthly travel cost, and that's something my Freedom Funding Blueprint helps you calculate, and you know how much you already have available, and you know how long your savings could support you, then you stop making decisions that are rooted in panic, and you start making decisions that are rooted in awareness. It's a big shift. Now, this is especially important if you're over 40 and you're either leaving a corporate job or you've been or are being released from one, where you're used to money coming in like clockwork. So up to now, you've been used to reliable paychecks, automatic deposits, a steady rhythm of earning and spending. But travel life and income outside corporate usually don't look like that. Money often comes in waves, right? Some months are bigger, some are smaller. There's more fluctuation. And if you don't understand your financial foundation first, your foundation, then that fluctuation can feel terrifying. But when you know that you have padding, a runway, and a realistic cost of living, those ups and downs feel manageable instead of catastrophic. So here's the mindset shift. Your goal is not to immediately replace your old salary. So it's not about trying to make six figures another way. Your goal is to create income that supports your new life. And guess what? That might be less than you used to earn. It might come in differently. It might not be tied to 40 plus hours of work a week. But it should match your energy, your priorities, and your desire for freedom. Unfortunately, a lot of people accidentally recreate corporate life in a new location. So, in fact, if you're planning to work remotely for a job where you're currently putting in 60 or more hours a week, and then you start traveling full time, you're probably just going to set yourself up to burn out in a different city, right? And then you're going to burn out of the travel experience too. So instead of chasing security by creating work that looks very much like the work you left, which is basically building income out of fear, you want to attune yourself to how differently money works outside corporate and design the right work for yourself. Now, let's be clear. For most people, some form of income is a very good idea because income extends your runway, right? Gives you some padding. It reduces pressure on using up your savings. It gives you more choices, and it makes long-term travel sustainable. But it works best when it's built on top of a solid understanding of how much money you actually need and what you can already afford and how much fluctuation you can handle. And that's the difference between thinking and feeling, I need to make money right now or I'm in danger. Or thinking, I know my numbers. I have breathing room and I'm choosing income that fits my life. The first is panic. The second is very powerful. And so if you've spent decades in a corporate structure, the biggest adjustment when you come out of it and start traveling, even if it's short term, right? It's not just about earning differently. It's thinking entirely differently about money because you'll be shifting from linear income to variable income. You're shifting away from employer-controlled money to self-directed money. You're also going to be shifting from climbing the ladder to designing a lifestyle. And all of this requires new skills, new expectations, and a much healthier relationship with uncertainty. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not at all about throwing away stability, which we all want. It's about creating a different kind of stability, one that comes from understanding your numbers, your needs, and your options. So the real question is not, do I need income to travel? Because for most people, yes, income will play a role. The better question is, what kind of income makes this life feel sustainable and not stressful, right? Because that's where freedom actually lives. It's not about avoiding work completely. And it's not about recreating your old job with a beach background. It's really about designing money to support the life you're building now. And so if you're realizing that income is part of your path, but you don't want to just grab something out of fear, and if you want to understand how to adapt from that steady corporate pay to a more flexible, self-directed flow of money, that's exactly why I created Aligned Income Activation. It's designed for people who are leaving traditional work and want income to feel intentional, not frantic. You'll learn about how money can work differently in this chapter of your life in a way that feels steady, realistic, and aligned with the freedom you want. So if that's the kind of transition that you are ready to make, then you'll find a link to Aligned Income Activation in the show notes. I've said it before, but there is no one-size-fits-all way to travel full-time. The same is true about how you generate income while you travel. There are infinite possibilities, but this lifestyle requires a lot of mindset shifts. And how you think of money, and actually how you think of career, is a huge mindset shift that you're going to need to make. That's it for today. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. If you loved it, please leave a review and let us know. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes. Check out the show notes for important resources related to this episode, and come visit us at travellifestylecoach.com to learn more great information. If you're ready to get started with the lifestyle, go to moneyfortravelbootcamp.com, where you can learn all the strategies to afford this amazing lifestyle. Talk to you next week.